I hope you have seen the previous video where I have discussed about the parliamentary form of government, and the parliamentary government says about the Council of Ministers with its head as the PM, right? And together they form their majority in the parliament, clear? And that too in the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha, clear? And that is why and here the head of the country is the PM, so we have the parliamentary form of government. All real power are being seized by the Council of Ministers with its head as the PM, and the main brain of Council of Ministers is the cabinet minister. So the real power lies with the cabinet minister. So this video is in continuation. Let's see other features and the powers as well. Okay, fine. So responsibility between the legislature and the executive. So here the most important organ of the government are executives and legislature. Legislature says about parliament that make law. Executives are the members, right? And they both are interconnected in parliamentary form of government. Obviously, they cannot separate themselves. Legislatures, parliament, the majority party wins the elections. Clear, and the head is the PM. Now PM has formed his majority and its members. Clear, everyone. Here the members form the executive part. Clear. The executives and legislature have to work in coordination with each other. They cannot be separated. So how come they cannot be separated? Which power they are enjoying together, right? Let's see in this slide now. See now, close relationship between legislature and executive. There is a close relationship between the legislature and the executive, right? Now the executive is constituted out of the legislature. Everyone knows the members are the part of the parliament. The members of the executives are also the member of the legislature, and they play a dual role both at legislature and the legislator in the legislature, and as the heads of the government department as ministers, right? In case a person who is not a member of the legislature gets appointed as a minister, he has to get the membership of the legislature within a definite period, failing which he has to resign his membership. Clear, everyone? Now next, responsibility of the executive before the legislature. Now the second feature of relationship between the legislature and the executive is in the parliamentary model is the responsibility of the executive before the legislature. Don't get confused. Executives means the member and legislature means the parliament, right? Everyone, the parliament is individually as well as collectively responsible for its act, right? If you see, parliament is also responsible, right? And members are also responsible, but members have to be very much they have to secure the trust from the parliament, right? Clear, everyone? Each minister is responsible individually before the legislature, before the parliament, for all the work of the department, right, which is under his charge. If anything goes wrong in the department, the minister has to give explanation to the parliament. If the legislature feels dissatisfied, it can pass a censure motion or a no confidence motion or a cut motion against the minister or the department, and the ministry has to resign. Further, the whole ministry, that entire council of ministers, is collectively responsible for the legislature or the parliament in respect of all its policies and plan. It has to get approve all its policies and program from the legislature, and only then these can be implemented. Moreover, the executive has to get the sanction of the legislature for all its fiscal policies, tax proposals, and the budget. In case the legislature rejects its any policies, plan, or program, tax proposal, or budget, it is taken to be a vote of no confidence against the ministry, and it has to resign. So basically, if you see, legislature means a parliament, and parliament too can exercise control over the executives by performing various motions, right? By implementing various motions. Motion is a proposal, right, where various question answers can be discussed, can be raised against the ministry, against the main government. So main is cut motion, no confidence motion, which we've already did in class 10th, right, everyone? Now if you see, now again, continuous, here continuous and active legislative control over the executive. If you see, how come parliament, that means, comes under the category of legislature control the executives? So we have with these methods, or say devices, or the motions, they can control the ministers, right? The very first thing, putting of questions to the executive. Now the member of the legislature can put questions and supplementary questions to the minister, right? Next we have, if you see, orally or in writing. During each day of the session of the legislature, an hour is fixed for this purpose. It is followed by a 0 hour in which the legislators can raise any issue in the house and call for a government action, right? Then again, we have moving of motion against the executives. So yeah, we have different types of motion, like adjournment motion. It is used by the parliament to make the executive discuss a topic of immediate concern after the suspension of the agenda for the day's work. Like that agenda, they have to suspend, and they have to take the matter of public cause. This we have already read in class 10th. Then call attention motion. If you see, it is used by the legislature to focus the attention of the executive on a particular issue which needs a special urgent attention. right? The issue has to be raised, right, by the parliament. Clear. Now next, cut motion. This can be, used as a means to force a minister either to resign or to accept the view of the legislature. It involves the decision to cut down the grants of department or the salary of the minister, right? Basically it is passed for the budget, right? Then we have censure motion. By passing this motion, the legislature can show its displeasure, dissatisfaction with the working of the department or the minister. A passing of the censure motion also means an expression of lack of confidence in the ministry against whom a censure motion is passed. Clear. Now no confidence motion. By this motion, the legislature can withdraw its support to the government and it leads to the resignation of the government. That means the opposition party. So don't get confused, what is legislature? Legislature means the parliament, executive is its member, right? Now come on to next slide. Now we have next we have investigation committee. Now this way the parliament too can control its minister. How the legislature can investigate, can institute investigation committee for investigating any matter of serious concern pertaining to the actions of the government, right? Any adverse report of any investigation committee can cause the fall of the government. The government has to be very very careful, otherwise the committee can be formed against him, right? Then we have legislative committee and privileges of the legislators actually, right? The legislature constitutes several committee like the estimates committee, the public account committee, the committee on delegated legislation, the committee on public undertaking, and etc. for investigating the work of the executives and bring the light the acts of omission and commission of the executive. The report of these committee are always a source of major concern for the executives. They can form a basis for a legislative action against the executive. The legislature, parliament can take action by forming various committee, by forming various legislative committee, right? Which committees it can form against the executives or the members, right? It can form, parliament can form estimates committee, public accounts committee, and then committee on public undertakings, and executives have to be very very careful about their conducts, otherwise they have to immediately be suspended from the house. Clear. Now next we have audit. The parliament can control its minister through audit, right? Audit is the watchdog of administration. It is used to check the financial dealings and accounts of the executive department, right? Then we have legislative and financial power of the legislature. By exercising these power, the legislature can keep the executive under supervision and control. Clear. Now if you see, legislature can cause a fall of the executive and the executive can secure the dissolution of legislature. If you see, executives and legislature both are responsible for their fall and for their well-being, right? How come? See, legislature is the parliament, executives are its members or the ministers, right? If you see, in the parliamentary model of relationship between the parliament and its member, each can cause the dissolution of the other. The parliament can vote the executive out of power by several means, particularly by passing a no confidence motion or by rejecting a confidence motion moved by the executive. The executive can also secure the dissolution of the parliament for securing a fresh mandate from the people through holding of elections. This mechanism serves as a system of mutual checks upon the legislature and executives, right everyone? So here the executives too can control the parliament by seeking the fresh elections. Clear everyone? Okay, so now next we have parliamentary government, its merits and demerits. So we are going to discuss about various merits and demerits of parliamentary government. Everyone knows parliamentary government, the real power exercised by the cabinet ministers, right, with its head as the PM. Now the merits are harmony between legislature and executive. In the parliamentary form of government, the executive always works in close harmony with the legislature. Then next, executive work as a responsible executives, right? Legislature accept the leadership role of the PM and his council of minister, right? Then again, if you see, the role of legislature act as a custodian of public opinion and finance. It willingly perform the role of a responsible and accountable executives. Clear. Now flexibility. The parliamentary government work as a flexible system because a change in the executive can be made without any major difficulty and disturbance, right? So here the flexible system is that, right, changes can be done in the members, right, without any difficulty. Now executives cannot become despotic. That means they cannot become Hitler. The members, if they were they were boasting about their powers, yes, they are the member of the parliament, they cannot do that. They cannot become despotic, right? The parliamentary executive, because of continuous and alert control of the legislature, cannot behave arbitrarily the way they want to behave, right? They have to be very very careful as they are responsible to the president as well as the PM. Clear. Now public opinion and opposition party act as a good check on the government. It continue to work in accordance with the dictates of public opinion, particularly under the critical eye of the opposition. So they are very, very scared of the opposition party, and who has the main weapon which really leads the government to resign is the no confidence motion. If they secure the strength two-third majority in the house, the government has to resign. Clear? So this is the merit of parliamentary government. So this merit, we knew that ki harmony is there, executive work as a responsible members, right? Flexibility is there, and they cannot behave like a dominant persons, right? Now come on to demerits. Now here demerits is what executives at time dominate the parliament. Now how come members dominate the parliament? In the absence of democratic ethics and a sound party system, the parliamentary executive tend to become dictatorial and inefficient. The cabinet has vast executive and legislative power. Some political scientists advocate that there is a dictatorship of cabinet in the parliamentary form of government. See children, if you see that cabinet ministers, they are really enjoying a very powerful position. Cabinet is a real executive head with his head as the PM, and obviously they are coming from the public vote, so they have the power, right? At times they dominate with their power in the house itself, right? They were the kings of the parliament. Clear? So this is the scary attitude of these for sort of government. Clear? Come on to next. Executive is weak because its tenure is not fixed. Now insecurity of the tenure can also be a source of limitation, particularly when in the legislature executive enjoy a thin majority. Clear, everyone? And if you see, the majority is being formed, no doubt, in the parliament and in the house. Which house? Lower house. But what happened? The lower house can easily dissolve, right? This is the minus point of Lok Sabha. Clear? So at times members can be felt secured. Clear? Because the tenure is not fixed, and again a fresh elections can be replaced by it, right? And come on to next. Now executive can act arbitrarily because of committed support of majority party. On the other hand, parliamentary system can also lead to a domination of the legislature by the executives, right? Particularly when it enjoy a big majority of seats in the legislature. See, if you see, like in the government, in the present scenario, the government really enjoying a powerful position in the parliament, right? So at time it leads to the dominant position or the dictatorial position in the parliament. Clear? Next, ministers are not appointed on merit. If you see, the system of appointing ministers and politicians also involve the risk of giving leadership of government department in the hands of incompetent politicians. See, politicians here, they are enjoying the public vote, and at times irrespective of caste, color and creed, they are coming and forming their majority in the house. Clear? So at times many incompetent politicians to get elected with this process. Clear? Now next, party politics become aggressive and dirty. The whole system can get dominated by excessive and unhealthy politics between the majority and the opposition party. If politics is going on, because obviously opposition party cannot accept the main government policies and programs easily, so at times the dirty politics may start, right? Expensive and inefficient system. Further, besides being an expensive system, if you see, it can be a source of instability and inefficiency. In it, a large number of incompetent ministers use power, and if you see that through votes, and vote can be public, irrespective of caste, color and creed, irrespective of literacy, they can vote the ministers. And ministers, in that, many incompetent ministers may too get selected, and they are enjoying their positions and the power in a wrong manner. So this is the demerits of the parliamentary form of government. So children, I hope so people have understood, right, what are the merits and demerits of parliamentary form of government. Clear? So this way we have come to the end of this video, right? So children, do listen to it attentively. You can connect this video to the previous video, right, and all your doubts will be cleared. It's nothing, the chapter is quite easy. It talks about the parliamentary form of government, and most probably in my next video I'll simply discuss about the presidential form of government, right? Okay, thank you.